I'm Khary Payton. I play King Ezekiel on The Walking Dead, and yeah, that's probably, yeah, that's what you want to know. You know, I was very lucky, I think, when this part came along, because I had been working for many years in theater, weird experimental theater, and I had done a lot of voiceover acting. So I came to this audition wondering about his voice, because the big deal with Ezekiel is that he talked very elevated, like the Shakespearean sort of royalty, and then he became a regular man and talked very relaxed, you know. And so, or at least I thought his voice is the thing that changed. But in the comic book and in the script, they never talk about his voice changing. And so I thought that was the first thing that should change for me. And I think that's maybe why I understood the character so well. And I feel like just being in theater, I understood, being a community theater actor, and him wanting to use that to help him, get through and understand how to get through to people and lead people in the apocalypse. So I think I had a unique kind of entree into my audition. So. Not so much in the beginning, but Scott Gimple and I we collaborated a bit on the speech that Ezekiel had when before All Out War, where he says, "And yet I smile," and not one man will lose, not one person. And I talked to Scott Gimple about the play Henry V, when Henry fights the entire armies of France, and there was just a small group and against a larger group, and how I love that speech, and how could we make something like that and so he wrote "And Yet I Smile," this speech for Ezekiel, kind of from Henry V, and so that was the inspiration for that particular, and it's really cool because so many people have tattoos of "And Yet I Smile," and hundreds of people have come to me with that, and so I feel honored. Yeah. People think that there was like a man in a suit, and there was no one. There was nobody in a suit. It might have been funny if there was someone, but there was no one. They had a man in a suit when he would jump on someone, when Shiva would jump on someone, but she's never next to me when she's jumping on someone. But he would have on a blue suit with a little face sticking out like this, and I would call him the Tick, because there's a cartoon character, the Tick, and I love this cartoon. I love this cartoon so much; it's my favorite. So whenever this big stuntman comes out with his big blue suit on, I was like, the Tick, yeah. I love about my job is that I use my imagination on these different levels. Sometimes it's a voiceover, and all I have is music stand in the page and a microphone, and I have to make it up all in my head. Sometimes, you know, sometimes, you know, I'm in live action and I have to forget that the camera is there, and I forget that all of these crew are there, but then I have to make up the tiger because the tiger's not there. I love that there's so many ways that I get to access my imagination, you know, from theater to voiceover to now I'm doing a video game. I play Black Panther in World War II. It's Captain America and Black Panther, you know, fighting Hydra in 1943, and so in that, in this huge room, you know, and we just have different platforms, and sometimes it's a helicopter, and sometimes it's a submarine, and sometimes it's the jungle of Wakanda, and sometimes it's the rooftops of Paris, and so I have to imagine all of these different things, and that's what I love about my job, especially for me, because I don't just do TV, and I don't just do voiceover, I do motion capture video games, and or even Dungeons and Dragons. I play D&D, you know, and I love playing D&D because you're improvising and you're creating your character. This is what keeps me passionate about the medium, that I get to use my imagination in so many different ways. Sometimes. I think because I have so many people, you know what's funny is we'll do these conventions, and they'll come because mom and dad want to meet King Ezekiel, and then they get to the table, and the kids are like, he's Cyborg, and then they're like, mom, no. Ezekiel, forget Ezekiel. I want a picture of Cyborg, sign a picture of Cyborg. And they have a big fight in front of me. And I was like, so now I have a picture with Ezekiel and Cyborg in the same picture so that the family doesn't, get into a big argument and fight, in front of me. Maybe family and friends, keep you grounded. I struggled a long time, doing this acting, and so I always say that the limousine that drives you there, it may not be waiting for you to drive you home. You have to be humble, because life can humble you. So just remember that none of this happens without the community of people. We don't do this convention unless all of these people, who continue to love and find like kinship with this show. It doesn't happen just by me. It happens by me and Norman Reedus. Never give up. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. There's always blue sky, after the storm. Never give up. That's hard for me to pick one because I don't get every job, but I don't even feel like I get many jobs, but the jobs that I get are really great, to do Cyborg, to do Young Justice, to do The Walking Dead, Invincible, this Marvel 1942, for me to be able to play Black Panther is like a dream come true. I'm just lucky that of the jobs that I get to do, they feed my soul. You know, I always say you want a job that feeds your belly and a job that feeds your soul, and these jobs, they feed my belly and they feed my soul.